If I only had a brain, then I'd be up here giving the big and brainy valedictorian speech instead of the commencement speech. But enough of my bitterness. If I only had a brain. I'm sure you all know where that quotation comes from. It's said by the Scarecrow in the wonderful movie The Wizard of Oz. Throughout the whole movie, his quest is to obtain a brain so he could unravel every riddle for any individual. And so he would not be just a nuffin, his head all full of stuffin'. He would dance and be a merry, life would be a ding-a-dairy. Being that this phrase is the Scarecrow's claim to fame, his bread and butter line, and really the only memorable thing he ever said in the entire movie, I decided not to focus on it. I mean, why focus on a phrase that's probably been heard about 1 million times? I feel like one of those pastors who gives a sermon with one of those cheesy Bible jokes in it. What kind of motor vehicles are in the Bible? Hondas, because the apostles were all in one accord. My dad told me that one. Rather than go with something banal, thank you, Mrs. Wall, and ordinary, like if I only had a brain, I chose one of the Scarecrow's lines from the children's book. Let me read it for you. That proves you are unusual, and I'm convinced the only people worthy of consideration in this world are the unusual ones. For the common folks are like the leaves of a tree, and live and die unnoticed. If you go by the logic of that quote, my speech is worth consideration because it is unusual as opposed to common. My point being, you should listen. Anyway, the Scarecrow said the only people worthy of consideration in this world are the unusual ones. I'd agree with him. After all, who wants to watch another ordinary TV show? No one. We want to watch the original, unique, and unusual shows. The Office, Seinfeld, The Brady Bunch. The rest are just boring in comparison. This TV analogy also applies to people. We like to follow the interesting, unusual people who do things with their lives. Not the ones that get dead-end jobs and grind through their days. I mean, these dead-end jobbers whose chief motivation in life is finding that lucky Coke bottle where they win a free iTunes download is just boring. But people like George Foreman, who invent lean, mean, fat-burning machines, are quite entertaining to watch. This begs the question, who is unusual in this class? Who should we be watching? Who would the Scarecrow be watching? Staple. Let's see. Where's Preston Fosmore? Preston Fosmore! He brought chainmail to school the other day. And not for protection or anything. He was just showing off some of the materials for his computer case modifications. That's pretty odd. And then Baron, where's he? Baron up there, and his twin sister Crystal. Where's she? Oh, next to him. They're very talented breakdancers, and like I said, they're twins. That's pretty odd. Very unusual. And Elliot Bowman, he's wanted to be a commercial pilot for years now, which I think is totally crazy. It's scary enough driving cars. And also Nicole Ascarian up there in the front row. She won a computer science award, which is super, super rare. Only 17% of computer science graduates are women. And Victor Swanson, one of the toughest guys at our school, I think you can actually see his biceps coming, like, jutting out of his gown. He was a male cheerleader this year. Totally weird. We have an incredibly unusual class. I can name something incredibly odd about every student we have graduated. Obviously, I haven't been allotted 4 to 6 minutes to individually name each and every student, so I'm going to move on. Sorry. In my mind, and I'm sure the Scarecrow's mind as well, our entire class is worth watching. There's so much potential in this graduating class. We have future doctors, lawyers, firefighters, architects, and computer engineers. We've also got future mothers, fathers, husbands, and wives. What I'm saying is, our entire class is a huge mixture of misfits and weirdos. But it's a collection of misfits and weirdos who will impact our city, state, and country in very admirable ways. Maybe some of us will even have global impacts. Well, probably not, but it's possible. Before finishing up, I'd like to say thank you to my class, the class of 2008, for giving me this opportunity to speak. Hopefully you haven't been disappointed. If you have, I'll give you a copy of my more successful speeches. Yeah. Or you can just check on YouTube. They'll be up in a couple weeks. And also, thank you to my teachers, friends, parents, and family. And on behalf of the entire class, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting us today. Whether you're in this auditorium, or watching someone's recording of this, or watching it on YouTube. Yes, I will be uploading this as well. To conclude, and I'm sure all of you are waiting for this, I'd just like to say, watch each and every oddball in this graduating class, because we will each do great things. None of us will live and die unnoticed.